There's something almost nobody tells you about how promotions actually work. And once you hear it, you never look at your career the same way again. So here it is. The hardest worker in the room is rarely the one who gets promoted. I know that sounds wrong, maybe even unfair, but after 44 years in financial services, working my way from a junior clerk all the way to head of operations, I've seen it happen more and more times than I can count. Talented, hard-working professionals were passed over, quietly frustrated, wondering what they're doing wrong. And the answer almost never had anything to do with their ability. So today I want to talk to you through exactly why this happens, and more importantly, what you can do about it before the next opportunity arrives. Now, most professionals are operating on the belief that goes something like this. If I work hard enough, do good work, and keep my head down, the right people will notice. And when the time comes, I'll get my reward. Now, it sounds reasonable. It even feels fair. But here's what actually happens. Your manager is busy. Their manager is possibly even more busy. They are not sitting in a room studying your output and quietly building a case for your promotion. They are dealing with their own pressures, their own targets, their own problems. And when a promotion opportunity comes up, they don't go looking for the best performer on paper. They think of the person who comes to mind first, the person they trust, the person they can picture in the bigger role. If that person isn't you, it doesn't matter how good your work is. So this is the myth that's holding thousands of capable professionals back right now. The belief that performance alone is enough. It isn't. Let me give you a clearer picture of how promotion decisions really get made. So when a senior leader is deciding who to put forward, they're asking themselves a few specific questions. Can I trust this person with more responsibility? Do I know enough about what they're capable of? Will they represent the team and me well in a bigger role? Notice what's not in those questions. They're not asking who worked the most hours last quarter, who submitted the most accurate reports, who never missed a deadline. Those things matter, of course they do. You need to be competent to be considered. But competence is the entry ticket. It gets you into the game. What actually moves you forward is perception. How do people see you? What do they associate with your name? When your name comes up in a room you're not in, what do people say? That is what determines whether you get promoted. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most professionals have absolutely no strategy for managing that perception. None. They're focused entirely on the work, and they've left the most important part of their career completely to chance. I want to introduce you to a concept I call the visibility gap. Now, the visibility gap is the distance between how good you actually are and how well that's understood by the people who make decisions about your future. For a lot of professionals, that gap is enormous. They're delivering real results, they're solving problems, they're holding things together behind the scenes. But the people above them have only a partial picture. They see outputs occasionally. They don't see the thinking, the effort, the leadership happening day to day. And nobody is going to close that gap for you. Your manager is not your career manager. That's not a criticism, it's just reality. The job is to get results from the team, not to build your personal brand inside the organization. That's your job. The professionals who advance fastest understand this early. They take responsibility for making sure the right people have the right picture of their capabilities. Not by bragging, not by being political, but by being strategically visible in ways that build genuine credibility and trust. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about self-promotion in the way most people think of it. I'm not telling you to talk about yourself constantly, to drop your achievements into every conversation, to make it obvious that you're angling for a promotion. That approach backfires. People see through it. It damages your reputation rather than building it. What I'm talking about is something different. It's about making your thinking visible, not just your output. So when you solve a problem, briefly communicate how you approached it and what you learned. And when you spot a risk or an opportunity, raise it in a way that demonstrates your judgment. It's about being present in the right conversations, contributing meaningfully in meetings where senior people are in the room, not talking for the sake of it, but offering something real when you have something real to say. So it's about building relationships with people above your immediate manager. Now, not in an obvious way, but taking the opportunities that naturally arise to let senior leaders see who you are and how you think. And it's about being consistent. Visibility isn't a one-time event. It's built through repeated small interactions over time. Every meeting, every project, every conversation. The professionals who get promoted aren't necessarily doing dramatically different things. They're doing the same things more deliberately. Here's something I want you to think about. There's a trap that highly capable people fall into more often than anyone else. It goes like this. They're good at their job. They know they're good at their job. So they put all their energy into the work. They believe genuinely that the quality of their output will speak for itself. And they're right, it does speak, but only to the people who are close enough to hear it. The higher you go in an organisation, the less your direct input is the thing being evaluated. What's being evaluated is your judgment, your communication, your ability to influence others, your presence. None of those things happens automatically. None of them is demonstrated by keeping your head down and doing excellent work in silence. I spent years in that trap myself. Like early in my career, I believed that if I worked hard and delivered results, the path would open up. And to some extent it did. But I also watched people move ahead of me who understood something I hadn't figured out yet. They weren't better than me at the technical work, but they were much better at making sure the right people understood their value. That was a hard lesson, but it was one of the most important ones I ever learned. So, what do you actually do with this? Well, first, stop waiting to be noticed. That's not a strategy, that's a hope. And hope is not a career plan. Second, audit your visibility right now. Ask yourself honestly, do the people 3 levels above me know my name? Do they know what I'm working on? Do they have a clear picture of how I think and what I'm capable of? If the answer is no, that's your starting point. Third, start thinking about every interaction as an opportunity to build your reputation. Not in a calculating way, but with intention. When you're in a meeting, in a conversation, on a call with a senior leader, ask yourself, what impression am I leaving? Fourth, get specific about the promotion you want. Who makes that decision? What do they need to believe about you before they'll say yes? And what are you doing right now to give them that evidence? These are not complicated questions, but most professionals never ask them. They stay focused on the work and leave the rest to luck. Now, the ones who move forward don't leave it to luck. They take control. Your career is too important to leave to chance. Now, you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to play politics. You don't have to become someone you are not. But you do have to be deliberate. Performance gets you in the game. Visibility moves you forward. And the professionals who understand that early are the ones who look back on their careers with pride instead of regret. I spent 44 years learning these lessons the long way. Everything I teach now is about helping you learn it faster. So if this resonated with you today, I want you to do one thing for me. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you ever felt passed over for something you deserved? What happened? I read all the comments, and your answer will help me create content that speaks directly to what you're actually going through. And if you want to go deeper on this, make sure you subscribe, because next week we're going to get even more specific about exactly what to do before the next promotion opportunity arrives. Your career shouldn't depend on hoping the right people notice you. It should be built on making sure they do.